All right, so some questions on keeping guarding the Sabbath.
Keeping what?
The Sabbath.
Okay.
Several questions that maybe you can just run through and give me a yay or nay. Is running and then later unloading the dishes, is that a problem?
Okay, it's funny. That question came up last night here just locally in our own egg. Okay, these kind of questions seem to come up on a regular basis. All right, look. We don't do on Shabbat anything that at least for sure doesn't have to be done on Shabbat. Now, things that you think have to be done on Shabbat, you may want to check and make sure they're still okay to do. But certainly we don't do anything that you know you don't have to do on Shabbat. Okay, dishes don't have to get done on Shabbat, okay? I mean, we take our dishes, we put them on the counter in the sink or whatever we use in the morning on Shabbat, Friday night or whatever, and we just go ahead and deal with it that way. If there's a whole bunch of food still on stuff after an Erev Shabbat dinner or something, we might just quickly rinse them off, but we're not doing a whole cleaning and putting away and washing and running the dishwasher and all that other stuff, okay? Because it doesn't have to be done on Shabbat. Okay, so the first criteria to examine the question is always, is this something that is even necessary? Now, if you think it's necessary, it still might not be necessary, but at least if you already have decided it's not necessary, you already have your answer. A lot of the questions can be answered by you just realizing, well, I really don't have to do this. It can wait, and if it can wait, it should wait. All right, now if you're pretty sure you feel like you need to, because by the way, we have a little needs, wants, disconnect problem a lot of the time. So you may think something's necessary that's really just something you want. Then you probably should check, all right? But the first question should be, can I wait and do this later? If the answer is I can wait and do it later, then do it later, okay? Then do it later. Makes it easier. Okay, what else?
Well, part of that is we have such a large family and we end up using a lot of the dishes out of the clean dishwasher. If I can get it run before Sabbath, then we still need those dishes and the kids start taking them out throughout the day. I mean, I was back and forth. I'm like, is it different if we take them out one at a time or if I just get them all out? Does that make any sense?
No, I understand. But okay, if you're going to grab what you need to grab to use because you have all these kids, look, why don't you have the kids all recognize this is your bowl, this is your plate, this is your knife and fork for the day, okay? And if you need to just quickly rinse it off or wipe it off so you could use it the rest of the day, that's fine. We're not going to just keep creating a giant mess in the kitchen and in the sink. See, I had a great lesson as a single. For all of you that don't know how broke I might have been once upon a time, when I was single, living on my own, the first time I ever lived on my own, I had one bowl, one plate, one knife and fork and spoon set, and one glass. I couldn't have guests over. Nothing was ever in the sink because I always needed to use it for the next meal, okay? And so you started to learn to take care of your stuff, all right? Just like, look, by the way, another solution, you can use paper. You know, with Shabbat, get some disposable stuff. Okay, use it, throw it out. Of course, then your children should not get a cup every time they decide they're thirsty. Put their name on it, take a marker, write their name on the cup, okay? So they're not using 47 cups for the same day. I saw a couple of parents glaring at their children, okay? All right? By the way, some of you adults do the same thing. I remember we used to do Sukkot and unleavened bread at this place up in the Dandridge area. We went there with the whole group. We ran everything through their kitchen and everything else, and we provided paper cups. We would go through the week's worth of cups in the first 3 days, easily, because everybody decided to use a cup every time. They forgot where they put it, or they put it down, they just grab another cup. They would go through 3 cups in the same meal, kids especially. And then, of course, we ended up working it out one time where we got everybody cups, like plastic cups. They put their name on them, and then they leave it in the room and forget it anyway. Okay, so did that help at all?
Yes, just 2 other ones, kind of, it's all combined. So there's an instruction about boiling on Shabbat, like to boil water to make instant oatmeal. Does that mean, like, because we do very simple breakfast, but is that a violation of Shabbat?
Okay, so when it says boil what you boil and cook what you cook, you know, the way we've ruled it from here, okay, is that we're not doing anything to anything that can't be eaten without any kind of warming or heating or anything. So since you're not eating the instant oatmeal without water boiling in it, you're not eating that. We're not doing that, okay? All right, so that's where now, but then the question comes, well, what about coffee? What about tea? And how does it all work? Okay, because we do provide coffee here. But again, this is not eating and food, it's drinking, it's different. I don't know why it's different or how it's different, but it talks about boil what you boil, eat what you eat, cook what you cook, from the point of making a meal, okay? Point of making a meal. So generally what we've said with food is, you can warm it up if it's already cooked, meaning you had it for the night before and you want to just warm it up today. Good, warm it up, it's already cooked, all right? But we're not cooking on Shabbat. And I'm not making instant, my son decided to be a wise guy and said he wanted to use boiling water for his ramen noodles. I said, well, if you can't eat it raw, then, so of course he took it out and started eating it raw. He said, I could eat it raw. And he ate like the whole bag. I said, good, now you don't need the water. Anyway, so, all right, so, eating a simple breakfast, so eat a simple breakfast, okay? But I would say I'm not cooking oatmeal, not cooking eggs. I know there are people out there who are listening that should know better, that make eggs and make pancakes and make all this wonderful stuff that's so much fun to have on Shabbat, but it's not Shabbat worthy. And you need to knock it off. And some of you don't realize I know it's you that are doing it, but I know it's you that are doing it. There's people doing this stuff, okay? Now, I will have a bowl of cereal. I will have a shake. I don't have a problem just putting the powder and shaking it up and that's it. I'm not cooking anything. I'm not boiling anything, all right? Okay, I'll eat a yogurt, I'll eat fruit, these are all things that don't require any prepping, okay? And so you can certainly do that. I've also said that I don't think it's talking about things like tea and coffee, and that's fine too. You can go ahead and do that, all right? And we have that here as far as what we do. Now here's the problem, because the argument can be made. Well, in modern days, it's not a lot of work to just take the boiling water and put it in with the instant oatmeal. That's true. But at what point do we start unraveling the whole thing by saying, well, this isn't that really work, and this is really easy, and this is really this, and this is really that? Because certainly when Moses was given these instructions originally, there wasn't any refrigeration, there wasn't any stove with electricity or with gas, et cetera, et cetera. You didn't have the simplicity we have today. So let's make the effort we can to protect the time as being set apart time, and let's keep things more simple. Okay, like for lunch today, when we're done here, okay, I'm going to be eating lunch meat, hard-boiled eggs, which were boiled yesterday afternoon before Sabbath, right on Friday afternoon. I'm going to be eating cheese, things that do not require any kind of preparation or cooking, okay? I could choose to put that in a sandwich. I'm not going to, but I don't want the bread. But still, I'm just saying is keep it simple. Why does it have to be a big deal? Oh, but it's Shabbat, it needs to be special. It is special. Doesn't mean you have to make special meals for it to be special. That's for feast keeping, which is why he says you can cook on a feast. Okay? But Sabbath's a feast. Yeah, but he gives us different rules for Sabbath. He says you can't do that. All right, so let's not do that. Let's not try to keep finding spins to try to do that, all right? Keep your breakfast very simple. You want eggs? Hard boil them the day before, okay? You want to warm up your bread? Warm up your bread. That's still warming up the bread. You could eat it either way, all right? I knew people that were cooking up steaks. I said, but you can't eat it the way it was. You had to cook it up. I don't care how much you like it raw, you still got to cook it, okay? Okay? So let's just not be doing those things.